This week on The Grid, Scott's still gallivanting all over the world, but we're here, we're editing your photos, and it all starts in just a few seconds.
The Grid is brought to you by Platypod, the tripod alternative that is changing the world. Everybody has a Platypod. You should too. Go to platypod.com.
Oh boy, there it goes. That was a great job, John Dobson. Great job. Like, he went from starting the countdown to going back to the jib and running the jib all in one motion. I saw it like faintly behind the screen. But hey, welcome to The Grid. As you can see, Scott's not here. He's still gallivanting around the world. But we do have KelbyOne instructor Kirk Nelson here.
Hello, hello. Hey. Happy to be here.
Yeah, so Kirk is in town. You're filming KelbyOne classes, right?
I am, taking your portraits to the next level. We've had a lot of fun with that one.
So what's the class about that you're here for?
So I've been
Besides taking portraits to the next level.
So I've been doing a lot of sports portraits, colloquially called sportraits. Which is better than just your standard sports photos of you take your little league guy, you make him kneel down and hold the bat in the bright sunlight and just click a quick snapshot and then move on to the next one. We have a lot of really good lighting and some other techniques that we can use, some environmental things like smoke and water and some light mods. It actually looks like stadium lights behind the athlete. Right. And we just have a lot of fun with that. We end up replacing backgrounds. We end up getting some simulated action shots and just some really good dramatic lighting and just a more fun way of doing sports portraits, especially with the younger athletes. They have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, I'm sure that they love that. And I'm sure their parents love it too, right?
Well, they do pay me. So that's a good part.
Yeah, that's a good part of that. Usually, if you can get great photos of kids,
that's true,
money will rain down from the sky for some reason.
The man speaks wisdom.
For some reason, the money will rain down. All right. So, yeah, so that's cool. So that class will be coming out soon on KelbyOne. You guys can go check it out. This is what The Grid's sponsored by KelbyOne. That's why we put this on. But today, we're going to be taking your photos. So we asked for you guys to submit your photos. So we've got your raw photos, and then we're going to take it through and just say, how would we edit your photo? So fortunately, Scott's not here. He's over in Europe. He's taking a little gallivant, as he would call it when I gallivant. Just gallivanting around, taking some vacation, well-deserved. And but he'll be back with us in a few weeks. So, yeah. But until then, we're still giving away prizes. We got tons of prizes to give it away on the show today. So what do we have here? Let's see. First, starting off, we've got the Platypod Elbow. So this is a great accessory for adding to your Platypod or just anything in general. It'll work on a Platypod, but anything that has those attachments, you should be able to use it. It's like a little magic arm is what I like to call it. So in fact, it's like they say that, like a function is a mini magic arm. That's how I think of it. So, which magic arms are amazing.
They are.
They're great tool. Especially, I did a lot when I would do sports photography and have to mount stuff. I use it in rocket photography all the time because we can mount securely to something, but then move the camera any way we want. So there's tons of uses for it. Great for remote cameras, things that you know, like
I bet that would work well.
Triggers, you know, stuff like that.
I've used them before in some like light painting on a river type of thing where I needed to get it down low, but I wanted to secure the camera well it's not falling into the river just because I accidentally bump it or something. So
you can use this in the same way, right? It's just a little smaller, so it'd be great for a phone as well. But we're also giving away a copy of the Photoshop book for digital photographers. We're talking all about post-processing today with editing. So we've got Scott's Photoshop book. And then the one that we'll probably be more focused on today, because we're photographers, the Lightroom Classic book for digital photographers. So, or just the Lightroom Classic book. But this is like, you know, the Lightroom Classic Bible, I guess I would call it.
Pretty much.
You know, if you want to know anything about how to use Lightroom Classic, there you go. There's a book for that. So we're giving that away. Then we're giving away a copy of On1 No Noise 2024. Love that plugin for removing noise, adding back the sharpening that you lose from noise reduction, all in one step. So you can get that over there. It works standalone or inside of Lightroom or inside of Photoshop, anything you want. And then we're going to give away a V-Flat from V-Flat World. Wow. Now, this is for U.S. shipping only, so you've got to have a U.S. shipping address to get this. But it's great because these V-Flats, they fold up inside of like your trunk or your back seat of your car, which that's really hard for a V flat. You know, back in the
is.
day, we used to have to like literally rent box trucks,
Right.
just to
Right.
take our gear. That's what you had, a grip truck. You know, it was
Exactly.
the grip truck.
Exactly. Otherwise, it just stays in the studio, and
Yep.
you make everybody come to the studio because that
Yep.
gear's not movable. It
Yep.
just stays there.
So that's
But
what's
this is
great about that.
yeah.
And too, if you even have a studio, having that versatility.
Oh, yeah,
to
move it
do
all
whatever,
over. It's great.
So yeah, so somebody's going to win that. Everybody can get a discount over at VFlat World though. Just use that code KELBY10 at checkout. That's KELBY10 at checkout, and you get 10% off. And then Retouch for Me is giving their skin tone app. So they're giving their skin tone app. This is a great plugin for smoothing out the skin inside of Photoshop. So it's works. It's an AI plugin, but basically what it does is it just gives you it generates a mask, and then you can edit that mask and post, you know, afterwards all you like. It's kind of like I look at like how the sky replacement tool might work in
Oh,
there.
that's good.
Where
That's
it then
good.
it does that and then gives you all the ability to still edit it and move it around or do all the Photoshop magic later as well. So really neat. And everybody can get a discount though over at Retouch for Me. They just got to go to the site promo.retouch4.me and use KelbyOne20 and they'll get 20% off their order. But somebody's going to win that skin tone app. And then the final thing, we've got the SlickPick's giving away 1 year of their classic gallery plan. This is for new customers only. So you have to be a new customer over at SlickPick to win that one. And then you'll get a 1 year classic gallery plan. To enter, all you got to do is anywhere you're watching the show, just go to the chat. We monitor all the chats across all the networks because, you know, some people want to watch on YouTube, some people like to watch on Facebook, some people like to watch on our site. We don't discriminate. Wherever you want to watch it, we're going to go over there and read your comments and then just tell us what you'd like to win. That always helps. And then also leave us a comment if you have any questions, anything like that. We can answer it here on the show. But yeah, so what else? I got another announcement. We've been talking about KelbyOne class. So you've got a KelbyOne class.
Got one coming out.
You've got other KelbyOne classes.
Several here,
We've got thousands of KelbyOne classes. We have a sale going on right now.
What?
It's 10 hours, 45 minutes, and 56, 55, 54. Watch it on my screen. Like 10 hours. So if you're watching this on replay, you might have missed it. Sorry about it. But you can get 4 months free. So this is a big one.
That is a
big
really
one.
good deal.
So you're going to, if you buy an annual pro membership, so if you've been thinking about like, hey, I don't know, I've been hearing about this KelbyOne thing, you've been watching the grid, you're like, I'm ready to do it. This is a great deal. Get in on this deal. It ends just in a few hours, but you can go get 4 months free. So just you got to look at it like you're buying a year, but you're really buying 16 months. You're
Right.
getting 16 months. So,
Right.
it's really a big bonus. We hardly ever do big sales or big bonuses, but this is one that we've got a little 48-hour flash sale going on, and you guys just happen to be there when we're running it, so I wanted to bring it to you.
So this is a reward for the viewers that watch this live.
And yes,
that don't watch the replays, but just tune in to actually see it.
Yes.
So good.
Oh, unless you watch the replay within the next
10 hours.
10 hours, 44 minutes, and 53 seconds. You go over to the site KelbyOne.com, just do /4 months. So number 4 months, MONTHS. So 4 months. And you'll get that flash sale right there. So that's the way you guys can get it as well. So we've sent out to everybody in our sphere, but I wanted to bring it to you guys as well. So go over to KelbyOne.com /4 months, and you can get 4 months free. And then look at there's your courses over there,
Hey, look at
KelbyOne.
that.
So you got all those courses.
Yep, another one coming up.
Got all those great courses. We've been talking about the photography fast track. That was a big one that Scott came out with last year. It was 5 courses that you watch over 5 days, and guaranteed, because we've seen it time and time again, we've heard it through the reviews from other people, that they did that and their photography went to that next level. It really
absolutely.
It took them. And for me, I wish I had this in the beginning.
Oh, sure. I spent years developing those same skills and
Yeah.
knowledge that you just dumps into a handful of days.
Yes.
It really is a fast track.
And that's what's so cool about it is I wish I would have had that like cheat sheet that would have been I didn't have to struggle. And I see so many photographers doing that and struggling, and I'm like,
There's no need.
I mean, there isn't really a need. I mean, if you invest in yourself, you
Right.
spend that time to invest into yourself through this training, I guarantee you're going to come out the other side and be like, why didn't I do this sooner? Because it'll save you not only time, but it saves you on money too. Because
Right.
one of the courses that Scott talks about is the gear.
Right.
Because so much of photography is the gear.
And if you don't know what to pick, you could easily waste money on gear that doesn't work for your existing equipment, or gear that's just not doing what you want it to do. Then you got to go and buy another piece of gear to get that, or you buy one that just breaks right away and you got to keep replacing it.
Yes, and that's a big one. We've all paid the tax. I've paid the
Yes.
tax time and time again, to the point of now I advocate for not buying new gear. And I'm like, really figure out what you need before you
Yeah.
buy the gear.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
Yeah.
you really have to figure it out. I was just teaching a workshop last week, and that was one of the things we were talking about during the workshop is you really want to make sure that don't think I can show people what I can do with a $200 lens
Right.
and a $300 camera, and it's just because that gear has a wide enough f-stop and it's a
Right.
full frame sensor, and like it does what I basically need it to do, where my picture and your picture are not going to be drastically different.
Not that big a
yes,
difference.
I mean, if I had the R3 or if I had a
Well,
Z9,
sure, if you go all the way to that,
but
but-
it'd be this much better.
Right.
It'd be perceivably
Right.
little better. But
That's true.
At the root of it, it's not going to be astronomically better. And I think that's what we think about with the gear. And that's where investing into the training, investing
Right.
into that side of it. The other thing, and that's what we'll go over today, I think over half of it is the post. I don't know how you
It
think.
really is. It really is.
think-
But going back to the gear thing, it's this natural impulse with us photographers where we see some of our work and it's like, I think that could probably be better. You know what I need? I need a new lens.
Yep.
That's what's going to fix that. It isn't. It's really not. I have a storage locker up in Virginia with all my photography gear in it, and I only use like the first 2 feet of the gear that's in that, and all my old gear is behind it, and I haven't used it in years, and I kind of regret even having it. My assistant even tells me, she's like, Dad, okay, my assistant is my daughter, but she's like, we got to clean this out. I'm like, I don't even want to look at that stuff. It just makes me feel
Well, I
bad
can
because
tell
I
you,
spent that money on it.
If you want, you go to B&H on the used department, KH,
Yeah.
MBP, and you can let go of a lot of that gear.
I
and you
just
can
need
make
to
some
do
good-
it. It's
good
just a
money.
heartbreak
Yeah.
because it's
Oh,
like
no,
those
I
are
know.
bad decisions.
I know.
and it
It's
just
kind of
makes
like
it
a badge
fresh.
of honor.
It
Like, look at
is,
all
I
the
know.
money I've wasted over the
Right,
years.
right.
Yeah, I get it. But yeah, so anyways, check that out. It's KelbyOne.com/4 months. Craig was asking, does it work for renewals too? Yes. I mean, you can go there and
that's
just
good.
work for renewals too. So just go over there to KelbyOne.com/4 months. We try our best to always, there are certain conditions that don't allow things. Like I understand some of the partners who go U.S. shipping only or new customers only, but we try our best to not limit that over here at KelbyOne, to our detriment sometimes because we spend so much time
Sometimes.
trying to figure it out.
But it's also you benefit.
Yes.
You got to know that. It's so that the
Yes.
members benefit. It's really that type of organization.
Yeah, and that's a big thing that we're all about. Not only do we have the classes, but we have a community.
Yes.
And what's great about every course is there's a discussion with every
Yeah.
course. So you can actually get your answer or your questions answered by the instructors or
Yep.
other students. So you're not just doing it alone.
Right,
Because that's one of the
right.
things in photography. It can feel very isolating.
It can. And
you
the
don't have to
community
do that
really does
alone.
help. And I will attest, I do go into the message boards for my courses, and people ask questions. And I will answer the questions the best I can. They even actually give me some commentary and some feedback. I'm like, well, I really like this, but this one probably could have been better. And I was like, hey, you're right. We can make it all better together. That's part of the community aspect of it, is we're all in it together to do better with our own photography.
Yep. All right. Well, let's go ahead and, speaking of trying to do better with our photography, let's try to take some of these raw files that
Okay.
members have sent in, viewers have sent in, and try to, bring some life to them. These are all either raw. Most of them, I hope, are raw. Some of them might be JPEGs.
Right.
We just randomly selected kind of a subsection of what we have, and we can't get through everything today. But this first one looks like something. I think I could bring this thing alive. This is one where this is what Scott and I like. This is the world's ugliest plane. the coolest. Don't get me wrong about it.
Sure.
The A10's like a beast. Like you can shoot up this thing, like it's still gonna fly.
Yeah.
Like this is like if you want the tank of the sky, this is the.
It has a
tank of the
particular
sky.
sound too.
Oh
And
yes.
people that know this plane and they hear it coming in, they know what's coming too.
like,
And there's character in this plane.
There is, but you know, it's just sometimes not the most attractive.
That's not what it's for.
But yes, it's not. It's there for that. So first thing first with me is I like to say, is there anything we can do with the cropping or the composition to kind of like make this a little bit like what's hard is I don't have a lot of room on the left. I got some room on the right. I like the fact that the A10 is going into something on the right.
Good.
Because if it was right up on the edge, I'd feel like, well, it's got
fleeing,
nowhere
it's
to
running
go.
away, right.
You know, it's not nowhere to go. But I might see the one thing I like to do with aviation photos is maybe make them a little bit more aggressive with my crop. I'm wondering if I can't actually, I know it's going to bring it more towards the edge, but just tilt it a little bit more. So looking like it's kind of going into a little more of a bank.
Sure.
Just kind of cheating it a little, if you will.
Nah, that's fine.
Now, again, we could even bring it in maybe even closer, you know, cropping it up here a little bit. But I still want to leave more room on the
do.
right
To
than I
where
do
it's
on the
going.
left.
Yes.
So I wanted to go somewhere. But I'm kind of bringing you in closer because the star of this show is the A10.
Yep.
The sky behind it really has not much anything. We're
There's
just going to
not a
want
lot
to
to
bring
work
out
there.
some life
Right.
into it, right?
Yes.
So I'd probably start there, which wasn't a drastic difference, but I leaned it a little bit more, brought it in a little bit closer, just so I'm bringing you closer to the A10. Next thing I'm going to want to mess around with is camera profile, right? Right now it's just in a neutral profile. For my work, I tend to go landscape with my profile, and it's because I usually shoot aviation,
Yeah.
aerospace, wildlife,
Right.
landscape, sports. All those, it's more about like the colors in the background.
is.
And I'm telling you, landscape kind of brings it out a little bit more. Now, I mean, that didn't do a huge job because, again, we don't have a lot of color
There's not a
in
lot of color
here.
to work with.
There's not a lot of stuff to work with, but it did open up a little bit in there. Next thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to try to hit this auto button because the auto button is actually pretty good about giving me a good baseline to start with.
Oh, look at that.
And you can see where the auto button did a good job about doing what this photo
Yeah.
needed. It
Yeah.
needed contrast and it needed some pop, right? But that's understandable. It's a raw file.
Sure.
It's always going to be like that.
Yeah, I mean, that did like 70% of your work right there.
So next thing I'm going to probably do is I'm going to set this white balance. I'm going to warm it up a little bit.
Okay.
Like, you know, see some warmth to it, but then I'm going to take out some of that green that starts going
Yep.
into it, right? So again, not a drastic change. They might have pushed in too much magenta there, but not a drastic change, but kind of giving it some warmth. I want some light in there. I might actually now, I don't think there's much else I would do globally to the photo. So what I'm going to do at this stage, because masking is so good, I'm going to work on the plane different than the background.
Yes.
I like to get the overall photo looking the way I want it, and then I'm gonna cheat here and kind of bring the plane more out. And what I would do is I would go select subject, pop up the
Look at
subject.
that is so easy now.
Yep. Boost in some shadows, maybe take the exposure up. And I'm just taking the
Yes.
exposure up just a tad. You take this too far and you will notice.
Yeah.
Right? But if you give like a quarter stop, a little punch to it,
Yep.
and then maybe do I want to warm it up just a little bit more? Right? And then the pièce de résistance over here, I'm going to pop it in some texture, maybe some clarity.
Yes, the clarity.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that.
Right? So now
Already.
the plane is kind of jumping out
It
from
is.
the background. But let's go one step further, right? Let's go over here. We're going to create a new mask, and I'm going to go select background. Boom. I mean, this works so
Yep.
well with planes. If you
so
have the
easy.
focus and it's diffused with the background. Now, I'm going to just do the opposite of what I just did. I'm going to take about a quarter stop out.
Down, right.
Just a little bit. I might, again, contrast it up a little. I might cool down the background.
Right. If the plane's warmer, you
Yep.
want the cooler background.
Yep.
Yes.
I might cool down the background. I might even add a little bit more saturation. So
There you go.
again, I'm just doing that. Now I could do the same opposite of what I did before.
Right.
The plane's in focus. I might take away some texture in the background. I might take away some clarity in the background. That might be too much. I still might dehaze it a little bit. So you can see there, like it darkened the background. And then again, if I go to this mask, it lightened up the plane.
Look at that.
So then if we go, you see how it's like it's almost like I took and lit it. It was all
Yeah.
flat and I just went boom.
Yep.
And it's like it brings it out. And that's what I want with that Aviation. I want the plane to be the star.
Yes.
I want the background to kind of be out of focus. You know, we could even go crazier with the background down here now as if we go to the cool tool that we have now called Lens Blur. Turn on Lens Blur. I might get a lens upgrade. We'll see. And there we go. You can see where we almost got like this lens upgrade where we went from like we're at an f8 lens. I just went down to an f4 lens.
F4.
Like you just got $5,000 right there.
You did.
Like that's about $5,000.
That's about the perfect image to use that on too, because there's no, there's no foreground to like fade out to show that you're cheating.
Yes.
You can immediately see
it's like
that
boom,
boom,
and it
there
just
it is.
brings it out of the background, right? The next thing that I would always want to do here is I want to add some kind of vignette. And just bring your eye, just a little bit, where I'm just bringing
Don't
it in
overdo that.
to the plane, right? And you can see there, if we look at the before and after there.
That's fantastic.
You know, you got before, and to tell you the truth, this is how my raw file looks.
Oh, absolutely.
All my raw files, they look like that. But then you process it, and it looks like that.
It looks so good.
Right? Now, we could do other things here, and just stepping through the process. Do we want to remove the enable profile correction, which is going to help that little the lens kind of distorts.
Distortion.
We'll do that. Then with sharpening, I might want to apply more sharpening, but this is what I see a lot of people do, is they'll put this up, and I'm usually between like 80 and 100, right? Yeah. But you're sharpening everything.
Right.
Just go down here to the masking, hit the Option key or Alt key.
Right, there it is.
And then drag to the right, and you see white reveals, black conceals. So I only want to apply the sharpening mostly to the plane.
Yes.
Right?
Just to the edges of the plane.
Maybe some of that background
those
clouds,
details in there.
Details. But now I'm only sharpening those edges.
Yep.
And again, if we really come in on this, right? When we come in, you'll see, if we go before and after, you see how it's soft, it's out of focus, and then we grab that sharpening and it kind of blows up. Yeah, so that's what we want.
And can I just say that it just took us, 5 minutes there to do that?
Yeah.
Just 4 years ago in Photoshop doing that?
Oh, this is
having to use the pen tool to trace all the way around that plane.
That edit used to take, that would probably taken me 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Just to do that.
What
And
a wonderful time to be a photographer.
This
is so good.
We were talking.
Yeah.
I usually could do that start to finish. And you're going to see probably as I edit, that's pretty much my process.
That is.
I might do a couple different things different, but that's pretty much the process. So if you want to check how I edit, that's pretty much how I edit. It's going to be the same if I go wildlife. It's going to be the same if I go sports. It's going to be very similar to where we're going to walk through those steps. But like you said, Kirk, I mean, it's a great time to be alive.
What a great time to be a photographer.
Especially with Lightroom and
Absolutely.
how easy it is.
Yes.
Because this used to be send it over to Photoshop and work on it forever.
And just turn on music, get a cup of coffee, and just shut the door for half an hour because you had to isolate a plane from a background.
All right. Well, we have to take a break. But when we get back, we'll keep on editing your photos. We got a bunch of shout outs, and we'll see you here in just a few minutes.
Photoshop World 2024, where imagination becomes reality. Come join us for 3 days of creativity, fun, and teaching. Discover the future of photo editing with the industry experts. Transform your photos with Photoshop fundamentals. Improve your Lightroom workflow. Dive into new AI, presets, and filters. Try next-level color techniques, learn creative compositing, and improve portraits with advanced retouching. Your journey to extraordinary images starts here.
Wow, Santorini, amazing, amazing photography opportunities.
I'm telling you, it's like they made an island on the Aegean Sea just for photographers to take great photos. It's one of those places that you cannot come back with mediocre photos. You're gonna have great photos, and I'm gonna send you to 17 places, 16 places, and then my restaurant recommendation. Oh, the food. So in this course, I'm gonna show you my very favorite places to shoot, all the iconic places, places you wouldn't find on your own. Really, really neat stuff. Great little asides and stuff that you're gonna go, I can shoot here, I can shoot there. It's amazing how close and compact it is. So whether you're there on a cruise or you're flying into Santorini, I got you covered. I have all these places and a PDF that shows the location, gives you a sample photo, tells you exactly where it is, gives you the address. I am setting you up for success in a photographer's guide to Santorini. And where is it found, Larry?
Only on KelbyOne.
Exactly.
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by Canon.
All right, well, we're back and we're editing your guys' photos, but we got some shout outs. We got people joining us all over the world. So who we got joining us here? Let's see.
So there's Tracy Chalin. I am so sorry. I'm not really great with names, but
Yeah,
Tracy, I am
me neither.
happy that you're watching it. And she's from Saskatchewan, Canada, and looking forward to my class. I'm looking forward to you seeing the class. Please let me know that you watch it in the bulletin board there, and let's interact. That's good. So Ken Gowley says hello from Gilbert, Arizona. John Austin says hi from Hexham in the UK. Karen says super hello, and then she's from. Was that Minnesota?
Minnesota, I'm gonna say.
Yeah, I think so. Then Cindy Christine says hi once again from Salmon, and Graham Pace says hi from Hot Sticky Malta.
Wow.
Yeah.
There you go. Jerry saying hi, looking forward to the show.
Good.
Tina saying hi from Oregon. Laurent saying hi all the way from the sunny Cave Creek, Arizona. Peter saying hi from Antwerp, Belgium. Wow. And then we got some love for KelbyOne. We got Nanette saying love being a KelbyOne member. Jack K saying I've been a member for 20 years. It's the best money I have ever spent improving my photography.
Thanks, Jack.
Sharon B saying yes, folks. If you're on the fence about joining, take advantage of the flash sale. Try it. You'll be hooked, and you won't regret your choice. So many courses to inspire you and improve your photography.
Listen to Sharon.
There you go. Thanks, Sharon. And yeah, again, reminder, if you go over to KelbyOne.com/4 months, you can actually get 4 months free on an annual KelbyOne membership for the next around 10 hours. If you're watching the show past that, I apologize. We run them sometimes, and oops.
Missed out. Doesn't mean don't become a member. Please still become a member.
Yes, definitely become a member, but
Yeah.
it definitely helps. Yeah. So we got some more photos here. So this is one that, yes, near and dear to my heart. A Milky Way photo.
Nice.
I think right away my comment from the camera side of it is, one, there's not enough light coming in for the sky, and then there's too much light on the bridge. Now you might not be able to control that.
Right.
Like the bridge might be lit up. It does look. I don't know why they would light the bridge up that way from the trees, But let's say that they did.
So I'm wondering if those might be like car headlights that just drove past while they had the shutter open.
Well, only because it's out on this island over here. This looks like water, and this is an island.
Oh, okay.
But see, that also looks like. So again, let's say.
I'm not sure.
Let's assume. Ooh, you might be right. See, this is like a torch coming in.
Something.
Almost like something is lighting it. What I would say is the light. If you did light it, less light.
Yes.
It needs way less light.
Yes.
You need about half that amount of light
Right.
coming in, and then you need more light being absorbed to absorb the Milky Way. So you need a longer exposure or a higher ISO or something to get more light from the Milky Way, and then less light on the bridge.
Right, because right now it's confusing as to what the subject is.
Right.
Are we supposed to be looking at the bridge, or are we supposed to be looking at the Milky Way?
And I always say with the Milky Way is never what it should be the supporting actor.
Right.
The Milky Way should be the awesome sunset.
Yes.
It should not be the anchor for your photo.
Right.
Right. So look at the Milky Way as the awesome sunset. So I would come in a little closer to the bridge. That's probably going to be my first thing.
Sure.
But I think we could still do something with it. This is a typical problem that you'll have with an overlit foreground and an underlit sky, and we can work through those. There's only so much we can do, but let's see what we can do with it. So first things, talking about what we're doing, there's nothing happening over here.
Nothing.
I'm coming in here. And really, honestly, this is the dark part of the Milky Way. Now, I've kind of put the Milky Way almost in the center of the frame. That might actually work a little bit better. I don't even know if I can come in a little bit this way.
Yeah, I like the bridge closer to that rule of thirds.
Yes. So I would love to get it down in here, but I think that's going to be a little weird.
You still want more of that up there.
Yeah. So coming into there, I think right there, we're starting to get like, okay, now the bridge has become a prominent foreground element. We've just got some issues to deal with.
Sure.
Right? Again, let's go through our steps. First one, I'm going to go landscape, see what happens. You see how landscape kind of brought a little bit more light into the scene just by changing that camera profile. The other camera profile you were using was like a little darker, a little
bit
crunchier. I want it to be flat. I want it to start out pretty flat. The other thing we got to do here is we've got a temperature issue. We've got a very cool white balance here, a very warm white balance here. So let's see, can we split the difference at all? I don't think we're going to be able to, because I need to go like more there for the sky. But you see how blue the foreground became?
Yeah.
So let's just go and deal with that first. So if I was to go select sky, select sky, and then I'm going to invert it.
Yes.
And I'm going to see if I can just deal with the foreground to kind of mellow it out. It needs to be a little warmer.
Yep.
I'm going to take maybe some saturation out of it. You know, and just kind of like try to neutralize it. You see how like now I've just kind of neutralized it, but still repairing the sky.
Yes.
I haven't done much to it. I want it to be very neutral when I'm starting. Next thing, it needs more exposure. So you see where like you've got the worst thing on your histogram with the Milky Way is to have everything just slammed up to the side.
Oh yeah.
Right? Because that means you got no data in the sky to really like contrast it up, bring out the Milky Way. So where I would have fixed that again is a longer exposure, let in more light.
Yes.
But if the cars are too much. So maybe we could bring it up into here, try to reduce the highlights. So already we're kind of like, you see, all I'm doing, I'm not doing much other than opening up the image.
Pulling it open.
I just want to pull it open, but I don't want that bridge to be so predominantly bright. The other thing I might start out with is, are we going to be able to repair? My eye's just going to go right here all the time, and it's going to go right here all the time. So let's grab this new tool over here, right? The remove tool. And let's turn on that generative AI. I haven't tried it. Let's see if it works.
Here we go.
Here we go. I'm going to paint over just that area. And then I might even try to paint over this area. And I'm just going to hit apply. I don't have to go to Photoshop, and it's going to do that generative AI stuff. So it's going to analyze the image and see. It's going to give us some variations. And I'm just seeing if I can't I just don't want my image or my eyes going to that part of the image.
Right.
All the
We
time.
want to detract from that because those are hot spots that are absolutely just grabbing interest right now.
All right. All right.
Let's see what we got.
So that's good. I like that one. That was not bad either. And you can see right there.
Right there.
Now, I don't see those hot spots.
Right.
It's still hot.
They're there, but they're not grabbing your eye and saying, look at me.
Yeah, so that's a good, I mean, if you look,
Yep.
how it's like, I just neutralized it to where you're not looking at those. That's what I want. All right, so next, let's see if we can't open up the shadows. And see, texture, dehaze, clarity, I'm not going to do that globally anymore.
Right.
I don't
Because
do
it's
that
going to affect
globally
everything
anymore,
then. And
right?
You just want it on.
And vibrance, I think we're good. Right, so you can see how the histogram now with those adjustments that we made,
pulling it out.
It doesn't look like all slammed up to the side. It's kind of like moving it out.
Right.
I might get a little bit more.
There you go.
I really wanted it. I really wanted it in camera about there.
Right.
That's where I wanted it in camera, right? And then we could have worked on it more. When you don't get it that way in camera, you're just lessening the amount you can do in post.
Right. I mean, there's still a lot there. There's still information there you can work with, but ideally, it would have been nice if we would have had that information originally.
Right.
Because we would have been able to go further with it.
All right, so now let's work locally, right?
Right.
So I'm just going to go select sky. Again, we used to have to go over to Photoshop, make this mask, all this stuff. Boom.
It's so
done.
easy.
Right? First thing, let's slide down here to that effects, right? Take that dehaze.
Yep.
Bump it up. Watch what happens.
Look at that.
Take
I
that
can
clarity.
see a Milky Way in there now.
Watch when I take this clarity up.
Oh, I love the clarity slider. Look at that.
Now, what that's going to do is it's going to overemphasize the small points of light.
Yep.
What I used to have to do is pop over to Photoshop, do a star reduction. I would have to actually go through a bunch of layers to reduce the amount of stars. Or in Lightroom, I could just take this texture slider
down
and just slide it over here, and it's like I just wiped away the
the
screen,
small little ones.
yeah,
right.
the scream of the stars.
Yeah.
And that's all we're trying to do, because when you have the Milky Way in your shot, you really want the Milky Way to be the star.
Yes.
Right?
Puns.
Yes, you want the Milky Way to be the star, and not the little points of light everywhere looking like noise. So again, you can see we started there.
Look at that.
And now we're there.
Yep.
So we're coming along. We're getting there. We're getting in a better place. Right? Next, what can we do? Let's see. Want to bring out the Milky Way a little bit more. We could go over here and go to luminance range, right? And then what I would do is I would just grab this part of the Milky Way. So I'm just the core. And I'm going to select that. It's going to select the range. Now I'm going to clamp down that range a little too. It's a little too much. So again, if I go up to the top here, you see this range.
Perfect.
I'm just going to pull that in. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract out the sky, but I'm going to invert that.
Yes.
So it's not the sky, it's the opposite of the sky.
Right.
So I've just got that layer up. Now I'm just going to do, remember what I was doing with the jet? Same technique, where I'm just adding a little bit of pop, like a quarter stop, a tenth of a stop. I'm just going to that exposure. I'm just going to go up just a little bit.
Look at that.
Quarter stop. Might do a little bit on the highlights right there. Perfect. And you can see how what that does is kind of just like highlights that part of the Milky Way.
Right.
Right. And if that's too much, I think it's maybe a little bit too much of a range. I can just grab that and kind of slide it in just a little bit more. But you can see now, that's what we started with.
That's where we started.
And this is where we are now.
That's
so
a much better
big
image.
Difference.
Yeah.
But I still don't like some of the things with it. I think that at the end of the day, there's a little too much of a greenish tint to it. We can do that different ways. We can go over to that color mixer. We can grab the green hue and kind of move that around. Maybe kick the aqua hue. Or we could take the saturation level down to the green. Or the other thing we might want to do is come all the way down here to the calibration tool.
Ooh.
And we can even use the calibration tool in very similar ways, where see
that.
how that we can take that green tint and just kind of neutralize it just with one slider.
Yep.
People don't use that much. And I got to shout out, I learned that years ago from one of our KelbyOne instructor, Rami, who does this a lot. Like, so we both do this a lot, where we're using the calibration tool. In a way, it wasn't designed.
It's not what that's for.
But it works.
It does work.
It works very well. So surprisingly well. And then I might actually, because again, after looking at it, I might come in. I don't like that tree over there.
He doesn't like the tree, folks.
I don't like this. I want to bring it in kind of closer.
Okay.
Right? So again, looking at that, Now, there's one other thing that's annoying me, and that is the perspective of the bridge, which I might go down to the transform. I'm going to
try to
do
open that up over
the
there.
horizontal,
Okay.
and I'm just going to, I'm trying to like fool my eye into thinking that that bridge was a little straighter than it was.
Then it really was.
Yes. And you see there how it's kind of like it looks like it's tilting up to the right there.
Yes.
And I just used the horizontal
kinda
tool to
flatten it
kind of
out.
like flatten it out
Yep.
a little bit more. Not a lot, but just a little bit, so it has that like kind of like
It feels more like a horizon now.
Horizon, exactly. But yeah, you can see there. That's where we started.
Yep.
And honestly, this is where we started.
It is.
Right?
It is.
And then we went to that.
that.
But that's there. You go. There's a Milky Way image. Like
That was good.
And that's what pretty much. I mean, you can see the same formulas apply from.
It's the same approach. It's like the
Aviation,
same journey going from
the
A to
Milky
B
Way,
the same way.
and then we can keep on going.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, is there anything else that you could think?
I kind of agree that tree on the right might be a little distracting.
Yeah. I wonder if we could take it out.
That's what I would actually try.
Let's see.
I'm not promising that it actually works, but I would at
with
least
you.
try it.
This
I would
is-
try it.
This has got to go. I don't think you could cut it down because I think you get in trouble. But let's see if we just try. No promises.
And I find when I'm using some of these generative fill tools, it's not to add stuff; it's to take stuff
Yeah,
out.
me too. Oh,
Yeah.
look at that.
Okay.
Look at
Okay.
that. Let's see a variation.
Uh,
So the first one
first
really
one has
worked,
potential,
but it has some potential, but it's kind of like it's cutting
yeah,
it
it's
off.
a little wonky.
It's
Yeah.
cutting it off, but anyways, you get the point. Now we could jump over to
Photoshop and use it
fix
there.
it, very much, but you can see where you didn't even have to leave Lightroom. I mean, truthfully, at that point, if you wanted to, you could.
You're just gonna crop it, aren't you?
and just-
You're just gonna crop it.
and boom, it's like it's
Cheater.
like magic. There you go.
You want to do it the easy way.
The easy way. But yeah, so there we go. So started from there. All right.
It's all good. Hey, thanks for sending in that image, though. That was a lot of fun to play with.
Yeah, that was. I mean,
Yeah, that was good.
I like to play with. I like images like the first one. It wasn't a challenge. Well, it was a challenge, but it wasn't a challenge. Like some of them.
Yeah, there's more to do with that one, though. So that was good.
Like this one. This one's a
Interesting.
good image. I mean,
Okay.
I think we got to work with it a little bit.
Yeah.
But
yeah. There's no more room at the top there?
There's no more room at the top. Let's say there's no room at the top, and we want to make room.
Want
at the
room
top.
at the top.
Let's do something. Let's go over to Photoshop.
Here it is. Here we go.
Right? All right. We went over to Photoshop. We left Lightroom.
We did it. We made the change.
We did.
We made that journey.
Oh, come on, Photoshop.
You guys don't know, we were just talking about this in the break, how so many people are intimidated to make
Yes,
that transfer
that
from Lightroom
journey.
to Photoshop. But see it as just part of your regular workflow. There's different tools and different things. It can be helpful.
All right, so we're going to come up here. I'm going to use that generative expand.
Yes, you are.
Right? And then what we're going to do is we're just going to grab this top. We're going to move it up and say, I think there was too much down here anyways.
Sure.
So we could have come up to there.
Just slide
So
it
all
back.
we're going to do is we're going to expand it just that much. So we're just adding that little bit of headroom, and we're going to hit that generate tool.
And hopefully we don't get another elephant in there.
Yes, hopefully we don't. Hopefully get a background, and hopefully it looks the same. Now, when we go back over to Lightroom, we're going to do something that it really won't matter if it's not perfect. Which that is close enough to where it's
Close enough to what we need.
perfect. If we go over here, there's that option. I probably would prefer that one just because of what I'm going to do with it.
I like the shape of the ear in that
Yes.
one too. Yeah.
So we're going to go here. When we come back, we'll finish out this image
Oh,
back over in
it's
Lightroom.
a little bit of sizzle.
Yep. And we'll see you just in a few minutes.
Photoshop World 2024, where imagination becomes reality. Come join us for 3 days of creativity, fun, and teaching. Discover the future of photo editing with the industry experts. Transform your photos with Photoshop fundamentals. Improve your Lightroom workflow. Dive into new AI, presets, and filters. Try next-level color techniques. Learn creative compositing. And improve portraits with advanced retouching. Your journey to extraordinary images starts here.
This class is a photographer's guide to Budapest. Now, I've learned a lot from my friend Scott about photography, location shoots, all kinds of stuff like that. Great restaurants, right?
Yes.
This is a fun class.
Oh, we're going to go to 17 different locations. If you're thinking of going to Hungary, and it is a wonderful, super photogenic, very, very fun city, and you want to come back with amazing pictures, 17 places, Larry. I'm going to take you to 17 locations. I'm going to say, here's where to shoot. Here's what the shot looks like. I got some behind the scene photos. I've got maps to show you where to stand, where I took the picture, different angles. I'm going to give you insider tips. I'm even going to tell you where to eat. I got some good recommendations for restaurants because it's a foodie town. Woo, there's some good stuff there. And you know what else? Hungary is very inexpensive. As a country, it's one of the least expensive places that you can travel to. You're going to be shocked at how little things cost once you're there, and you're going to have a great time. And I'm going to make sure of it. I'm going to put you in the perfect spot to come back with killer shots that are make your friends so jealous that you'll probably won't be friends anymore. That's where it's going. All right, where do you find this class? It's exclusively at KelbyOne.com.
This segment of the grid is brought to you by Platypod, the world's most compact tripod base.
All right, we're back, and we're going to work on the couple of elephants here. So we got the...
What is that group of elephants called? Is it a pod?
I don't know.
I think it's a pod of
this
elephants.
This is 2 elephants.
It's only 2, so it's a pair.
2 elephants, a pair of elephants that we're working on. So we went and we expanded the canvas. So that's all we did is Generative Expand, it's called. And then all we're going to do is we'll just go over and we'll hit save. And then when we hit save, which we did, it's coming back over here to Lightroom. So you can see where we had the, we've got the version with, that's where we had not enough headroom.
Right.
And then we just added that little bit of headroom.
It already feels like there's more breathing room.
Yeah,
it's not as cramped.
It feels not as cramped. But I really want to take this, I think, a little bit more contrasty, dramatic. I want to accentuate the lighting that's there. I think there is some good, like...
There's that backlight from the sun, so you're getting that rim around the elephants. I would love to see that accentuated. Yeah,
so let's do it. So first, on the crop, do we want to come up even more?
A
little bit, maybe come in, kind of put it more in there. So just kind of focusing again in on that front elephant, but we still got the elephant behind, and now we really want to add some dramatics. But first, we got to do what we've been doing. This was a TIFF, so again, I don't have the raw file or no, did I have the raw
think you
file?
did originally.
I had the raw file, but because of that,
went
I
to
can't
Photoshop,
add
right.
the camera profile now. But let's go ahead and just do some adjustments. So I'm going to warm it up. And again, I'm going to go intentionally warmer on this one.
Okay.
I just feel like at the end, we're going to want that once I start punching it up.
Right.
And I really want to accentuate that. Right? I could hit auto. I actually think it's going too far.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't like where it's
I like
going
what you were doing before.
with auto.
Yeah.
I want to take actually away. And I want to darken this up. Like,
Good.
I'm going to bring it more. So again, we're kind of like warming it up.
Yep.
Adding that tone.
More color. It was
I
a little like
might-
drab and muddy before, and this
Yeah.
just adds a lot more color to it.
And the one thing I'm going to do here that's gonna suck me in, I think, is I'm going to go stronger with the vignette than I normally would.
Ooh, he's getting crazy.
Yeah, like I'm going to come in there where, you see how like
Yep.
I'm really bringing you in that center. Next, I think this one is going to call for a huge lens upgrade.
Okay.
So let's go and apply a lens blur. Right, and you can
All
already
right,
tell
all right,
where
already.
it's got the lens upgrade, but you can see where it didn't get
Yeah.
as well here on the edges,
Yeah.
and maybe even in here. So, if we turn on this visualize depth is going to actually show me the depth, and it's going to show me the depth through color. So I can actually grab this area and go. Now the elephant, you see how the elephant's becoming less in focus when it's turning
Right.
that yellow. That's if you wanted some depth of field in the front. I don't really want that. I want the elephant to be all sharp, and then if I bring it in from the back,
There we go.
you can see how the other elephant's kind of turning into. But let's say it's grabbing too much over here. Well, I can actually go down to the brush down here,
Yep.
grab the focus, right? And I can just paint. Oh, I don't want that to be in focus. Never mind. I want the blur.
Right.
So I want to visualize depth. I want the blur brush,
Right.
and I want to blur this. I want to just make sure this area right here is all blurred out.
So
right?
just the thought that you are painting in unfocus
Right.
is really kind of revolutionary. It's not just
Right.
blur; it's literally like lens unfocused.
Right.
And it's
even
really
there,
good stuff.
I'm grabbing
Yeah.
that one. It didn't hit these
Oops.
two areas, so I'm just brushing that back in. So I
Right.
went to the focus and brushed that focus back in. Now, if I turn off visualize depth, you can see how
lot
kind of
better.
the edges are all blurred. Like that's a really good lens upgrade. We went
It
from
is.
an
It
F9 to like
an
again about an F4.
3 or 4,
We
right.
could probably go up. Let's go to the blur amount. Push
Easy.
it up.
Look at that.
We can even go to the boost and push that up.
Wow.
Now look at that might have been too far, but we went
Probably.
to like an F2.8.
But still, the fact that you can do that, and
Yeah.
it has this quality of like a lens blurring. This isn't just
I
like
mean,
your Gaussian blur from
I mean,
Photoshop. This looks really good.
That is night and day there.
It
I
is.
mean, you can see how now the elephants stand out. They jump out from the background. We have that gradual depth behind
Yep.
them, right? So now it's just a matter of, you can see how when I warmed it up, it didn't look as good, but when you add the lens blur,
Yes.
it starts looking good. It's like you get that warmth color all the way through it. But now we can go even crazier with
Yeah.
it. Like what do we
Select
want to
the
do?
elephants.
Like what happens if I hit select subject, right?
Right.
We can go to the subject. We might just
Like accentuate
bring
some
up-
of the texture and stuff on their skin so they look rougher and they're not smooth.
remember what we did to the jet?
Yep.
Did they do the same thing here?
Same thing.
I'm gonna just add some warmth. We take out some of that green. Come in here, maybe boost up some of that texture to again
There it
bring out
is.
the skin.
Yep.
Maybe even clarity.
Yes.
Right.
Ooh, look at
See,
that.
You can see how we're bringing that depth out, and then what are we gonna do that we did to the jet? We're gonna deaccentuate the background.
Right.
So, background. Boom.
And it still selects it perfectly, even with that non-focus blurring on there.
And see, if you go
It's
too
still
much,
super.
you're going to tell. Right there, I can definitely tell you did it.
Sure.
But again, if we go to that like quarter stop, you can hardly tell. That's almost a half a stop right there.
Yeah.
And then, but then we can even change, like we want to cool down the background, warm up the background some more, pull out some colors.
There it is. Yeah.
And you can see how we took a very flat,
It looked really dusty there.
Dusty.
Yeah.
And we're just warming it up. I mean, now I might even be able to go back to the original and even boost it up some more.
Yeah. Yep, because you're starting to see that rim light accentuating along the ear there.
Yeah.
And I like that.
Yeah, how cool is that?
Look
right?
at that.
I even impress myself sometimes.
And again, whoever sent this in, thank you so much.
Yeah,
that was so
awesome.
much fun.
Yeah, but you can see where that's what it is raw files are supposed to look like that. I think there's this misconception. I mean, we didn't even go all the way through it because then we would have gone down to sharpening.
Right.
Add that sharpening in.
Yep.
Mask it out. Hitting that option key. Only I just want to, and that's only like the elephant. It's the foreground, the elephant's texture.
Yep.
That's what we're sharpening. We add a little bit of sharpening to it. Do we do anything with the lens correction? I think it's not picking up the camera. So, and again, because it's because I'm not working on the raw file. If I was working on the raw file, I should be able to pick that up. This doesn't look though distorted. I mean, you're in at 200 millimeters. It's not too distorted. We've got the different blurs, and we put a stronger vignette on it. Could you even go down here to calibration and do stuff? Yeah, I mean, you could go here and say, you see how pulling it over here, you're going to get more of that kind of like
that
yellowy green.
Yeah.
And then I'm pulling the reds this way. I'm going to get like that softer,
more reddish,
yes,
reddish, right?
And that's where this is a great technique if you just want to add a little bit of kind of like funkiness to your image that's kind of your own.
Right.
That's where, using this. But again, it was not intended this way, but it works. It works.
Until they patch that out because they see us abusing it.
Yes, But again, if you want to do the same technique, just come up here.
Right.
Go to the color mixer. You can use the color mixer in the same way where you can grab a certain hue and shift hues. It just gives your image kind of like a different look or a different grading to it. Or come down here to the color grading and use, that's the tool that was actually intended to do this.
Right. You can achieve a more like cinematic look.
Yeah,
where
cinematic.
You can start color casting the shadows as
Yes,
opposed to the highlights.
Exactly. So I can take and put a strong kind of, you would never do this, but you can put a strong like magenta in the shadows.
Right.
But you might want that, and then as you pull it back, it'll get less, or that's in the midtones. If you went to the shadows, maybe I could pull blue into the shadows. Mm-hmm. But again, that's where, I mean, look at where you started to where you went to.
Where it gets to. That's fantastic.
Yes, I love it.
Yeah, that's fun.
This is the stuff where we used to have to spend a lot of time inside of Photoshop to achieve this stuff.
And then to try to change it, you spend even more time because it's not nearly as flexible. Mm-hmm. You have to go back 12 steps just to go a slightly different direction and be like, maybe that first direction was better. And you end up with like 17 different Photoshop files with ridiculous names.
I'm trying to debate if this is killing me.
Yes, take that out.
I think this is killing me. Right? And I'm just going to hit that generative remove. And it's usually going to do a pretty good job about removing it. Boom.
There, it's gone.
It's gone. No, I don't see it. But a lot of times I'll do that with my photos as well. When I get done, kind of process or edit it, pull back from it, I'll diffuse my eyes and say, is there anything kind of screaming out towards me?
Right.
You have to have some imperfections in your photo.
Right. Otherwise it looks way too perfect.
I can't make it like super perfect, but like
I'll come back to it too. Like I'll move on to a different photo, do some base editing, and then come back to one that I've already edited just to see like in that first 2 seconds when I look at it again, what jumps out at me.
Yeah.
And is what jumps out at me what I intended for it to jump out at me? If not, then I need to make some changes.
Yeah. The only other thing that's jumping out, and this is being really picky, is there is a line.
There's a wire there.
And I believe it to be a wire. That does not look natural.
Yeah.
Right? So because of that.
How still's your fingers there?
Well, what we're going to do is I'm going to just hit the shift
There
key
you go.
and click over here and draw a straight line. And then I'm going to just try to apply that and see if it takes it out. Like I said, I usually do a pretty good job.
Especially in this. Boom. Especially a background that doesn't have a lot of detail.
Blurred out like that, you can see.
Yeah,
and you can see where it was a wire. Or no.
Oh, is it just a stick?
It's a stick, but when it diffused it, it looked
like a wire, didn't it? Yeah.
But now you can't see it at all.
That's not even there.
I mean, that was easy. And again, that technique was we clicked on one area, then we shift and click, and it'll draw a straight line. use that all the time.
Yeah, that's been in Photoshop with the brush tool for decades now at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can see where, and that's my wildlife and my aviation, not drastically different.
Pretty similar.
Like very similar to how I do
Yeah.
it. The Milky Way is a distraction, but still same techniques. All right, so we got to take one more break, but when we come back, maybe what we could do is we can try to knock out a bunch of these, bunch of the ones left. You can see how it's very repeatable process for contrasting up your image, adding that punch, getting that photo jumping out alive at you.
Photoshop World 2024, where imagination becomes reality. Come join us for 3 days of creativity, fun, and teaching. Discover the future of photo editing with the industry experts. Transform your photos with Photoshop fundamentals. Improve your Lightroom workflow. Dive into new AI, presets, and filters. Try next-level color techniques. Learn creative compositing. And improve portraits with advanced retouching. Your journey to extraordinary images starts here.
Hello, my name is John Dukes and welcome to Washington, D.C., one of the most fascinating cities in all of the United States. Come join me and Larry Becker as we take you on a tour, a journey through one of the most fascinating cities in the world. We're going to look at some of the best tourist attractions of Washington, D.C., and also some of those under the radar spots that the tourists don't know about. We're going to have a lot of fun in this class as I talk with you about how to get some of the most epic shots, where to position your camera, what gear to use. We're going to cover a whole lot of stuff, but mostly we're going to have a whole lot of fun. So thank you so much for watching A Traveler's Guide to Washington, D.C. with John Dukes and Larry Becker on KelbyOne.com.
I am a portrait and wedding photographer based in Valencia, Spain.
I do mainly commercial and editorial photography, and I retouch up to 100 photos a month.
We shoot almost every day for all kinds of clients, such as commercial, beauty, and fashion. And we retouch our work more often, like every other day.
I used to spend over 1 hour for one photo.
If we want professional results, we must remove skin blemishes, do micro dodge and burn, highlight eyes, whiten teeth, and even reduce wrinkles in clothes. And this can easily take me up to 2 hours of work for each photo.
So when I saw that there's a plugin for Photoshop that helps you retouch quicker, I was eager to get my hands on it.
I read many feedbacks about it, and I found a lot of positive reviews, which made me to consider buying my first plugin.
One of the challenges we have at the end of a session or wedding is to achieve an edition in our photograph that looks natural. This is where retouch for me has become a game changer.
I love the feature that you can pick how much effect it has on your photo, and you can adjust it accordingly to your style.
I saved a lot of time and always end up having amazing result with my work.
I am extremely happy with the quality.
Now I am more efficient and have more time to spare with my family.
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by B&H Photo, the professional source since 1973.
All right, we are back. And we're editing your images, and we've got some prizes to give away as well. Let's go ahead and we'll give away the prizes, and then we'll try to get through a couple more images here. Victor
Krasenix?
I'm going to say Krasenix. It's a birthday tomorrow. and he'd love to get the V flat. So Victor, happy birthday! You're getting a V flat.
Happy birthday!
And then Ken Walker's getting the Platypod elbow. Dan Gallagher is getting the On One No Noise.
Good.
Robert Holder is getting the Lightroom Classic book.
That's this one.
Yep.
Right.
And
Yep.
then Tim Nees is getting the Retouch for Me, the skin tone app. Paul Frogat is getting the Slick Pick gallery plan. And then the Photoshop book is going to Elizabeth Holmes. So just email us over at gridprize@KelbyOne.com and we'll verify your information, then send you out your prize. Just please try to do that by this Friday. And as you can see on the bottom corner there, Photoshop World is coming up at the end of the month. So we've got Photoshop World, September 24th through the 26th. So definitely check that out. It's over at photoshopworld.com. If you want to become a Photoshop and Lightroom expert, anything to do with post-processing, you're definitely going to want to check that out. And as we talk about, and like I was talking about at the beginning of the show, over half of photography, at least half of photography is the editing, is the post-processing. So if you're not investing in that and you're heavily investing in lenses and bodies and tripods and gear, you're missing out.
It's only half the battle.
It's half the battle. Like, as you can see today from the files, like the raw files are raw. Like, that's what I think a lot of people don't realize is it's raw for a reason, right?
Yes.
It's an uncooked
It's
raw
uncooked.
file.
That's a good way to put it.
Right? It's like you have the raw ingredients, and then you can either do a line order, McDonald's grill, cook it, or you could take it to a 5-star chef and have him prepare it, And that's where if you get to the end of the day, like that's when you get down to it is like, what are you doing? Are you investing to learn how to cook your photographs, or are you just getting the photograph but then not cooking it and you're just keeping it raw? Or if you decide to shoot in JPEG, then you've given the choice of cooking your file up to the camera manufacturer.
That's true.
And the camera manufacturer is going to cook it.
They have no interest
But they're cooking it the same way for
all of them.
everybody.
They're just boiling everything.
Yes, just everything's like bland, no salt, no spices. It's just, I'm getting a JPEG.
Now, there's something to be said about always getting it right in camera, but that goes to a certain extent. When we say that, what we mean is like, don't purposely shoot stuff that has distractions in it when you can easily get the distraction out before you click that shutter button.
Yep.
But the editing really is so valuable for taking your work to that level where you can actually look at it and be really, really proud of your images.
Yep, that's it. That's the key. That's the secret. All right, so let's try. This is a landscape photo. So
it is. I can confirm it's a landscape.
Very similar to my process is going to be very similar.
Yep.
We're going to start with that cropping.
Try the auto. See if the auto works.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. I don't see anything that would do.
No, the auto on the cropping for the straightening. Yeah.
Yeah. So we want to do. Oh my gosh, where's the auto?
Up a little bit to the right.
I know.
Down.
Oh, there it is.
Look at that.
Yep. It did a pretty good job. I always use it. Couldn't see it for some reason. Yeah. So that kind of starts you out too, where you've got the upper third is where the horizon is.
Yes.
So let's just go with that. We've got the upper third on the horizon. I really see something here where there's like this squiggly line in the sand and the wash. I think if I bring that out, that's what's going to make this photo. This photo really does not have like a prominent subject, but it's got that color. So let's just start out. What are we going to do? Let's go to landscape.
There it is.
All right. Then this one, you know what? I'm going to go cool on it. I'm going to intentionally go cool. It feels like a cool image. And then I'm going to add some magenta into it. Then might take... Do we need to do anything with the shadows or the highlights? I might bring the highlights down. Yep. Open it up a little bit. Add some contrast to it. Now I'm seeing this a little bit more. I'm seeing that color. Dehaze a little. Now I did that global because there's nothing really of a subject here.
Yeah.
So this is where maybe a detraction for what we've been doing of. This is why I tend to look for a subject, because I love to create that separation, but here we just don't have it. So already we just changed on grading of it. Now it's going to be a matter of what do we want to do to kind of bring it out. Let's go down, see if we can't add a little bit of vignette. I'm just going to grab a brush, and I'm just going to like brush in here. I want this area right there to be distinctly different than the rest of the photo.
So you're creating a subject where there really wasn't one before.
I'm creating a subject, exactly. I'm intentionally, and I'm not putting much into it, but just a little bit. See, like there, it's like just a little bit.
A little bit of a glow.
A little bit of a glow just to fool me into thinking that there's magically some light there.
It gives you something to look at.
Yes. And I'm bringing you to it, right? At that point, now I'm going to get just creative with it. Like, what do we want to do? Do we want to go to that color mixer and use that color mixer to kind of shift
I'll get some
hues?
crazy colors in there.
But again, like I said, I think that the secret sometimes is if you go grab these
the calibration
sliders and you can kind of really mess with it and make it have a distinct look to it.
Yeah. Huh.
I never thought to deal with it that way.
No.
But yeah, I mean, look at that. Like it has. Now, I can attest that if you were there during the beginning of Blue Hour, it's gonna look like this.
At least similar to that.
Similar
yes.
to this. Like
Yes.
Blue Hour in the beginning, it has this like magenta,
pinkish glow.
pinky glow to it.
Especially on a clear day like that, where
Yes.
there's not really clouds back there to catch the
the
setting sun's last rays or anything. It's just a nice clean sky.
But again,
you're gonna get that.
Grab that, only sharpen the edges. I mean, we could do things like we could come grab that. We could do a luminance range and just grab the shadows,
right in the shadow there,
right, and then just basically
that down.
go into the shadows and just maybe make the shadows even darker.
So you have more contrast throughout
More
the whole image,
contrast.
right?
So you see, I'm kind of building up that contrast, almost like dodging and burning with the luminance range.
But without having to actually go in and dodge and burn.
Without having to dodge and burn. But you can see, like right there. I mean, that's. I mean, we could keep on going with it, but you can see how, like, any image you can kind of bring it out and make it into something. Let's see. This one, what are we going to do with it? We're going to do the same thing we were doing before with the aviation photo. Grab it. I want to make this plane and this plane kind of be level. I want the middle
I see what
of
you're
it.
saying.
You see how the middle of it's kind of off? I want to grab that plane. I want to make that plane the star.
Good.
The middle plane the star. I'm going to bring it in so everybody else is kind of splitting from that plane.
Right.
It's a small thing. If I hit that reset, you see how it's like it's a small thing, but to me makes a big difference. Where it's like I'm just leveling out that one plane, that center plane.
And I like the fact you did that with the crop tool instead of trying to go in and actually physically rotate the image of just that plane.
Yeah.
Because that would have been a lot harder to do to make it look right.
Now, the
crop
other
tool made it
thing
work just
we
fine.
could do is you see with proportions, sometimes you can take those horizontal.
Oh, you can
vertical
squeeze it in a
tools,
little bit, yeah.
And I could squeeze it. I could actually take the aspect and I can squeeze them in a little bit more too if I want. And again, these are just little adjustments that you're making just to kind of like put them back in the proportions you remember.
Right.
Right. And that's a lot of times what I'm doing is just because this camera distorts it or the planes are flying at certain angles and then how I always look at it with aviation especially is you can hold your camera about any which way.
Sure.
I could flip my camera upside down and take the shot just like I could rotate the picture.
Right.
I mean, I can do that.
Because in the midair like that, there's no visual reference to say because you don't have a mountain off in the upper corner or anything.
Exactly.
It's just sky back there.
So it's free reign. As
Yeah,
far as
and
I'm
clouds go
concerned.
every which way.
All right, so let's add a little contrast. Let me just hit that auto, see what it does. Auto brought too much into it. I want to make it more in there. Add some contrast. But already, from where we were, maybe come in here to the white balance and go a little warmer with it.
Hmm.
It's not much.
It's not a lot.
But I like it. Then I'm going to dehaze that up.
Yeah.
Add some clarity. Add some texture.
Right.
You can see it right there. I mean,
there.
the image doesn't need much.
No, it's a pretty good image to start with. So whoever sent this in, well done. Well done.
Yeah.
I like it.
And then let's end on this one. So we've got,
let's go with this one.
We've got a landscape image, or a wildlife image, or a horse image, equine image. I guess that'd be a great example. Yeah, my daughter would yell at me right now because that's what she does. An equine image, that'd be great. So what I want to do with, I think what we want to do with this one is I want to give this a lens upgrade.
Yes, I want to make sure that we're looking at that horse and rider and not that trailer in the background.
So, but let's see what we can do with the crop first.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can't bring this in. Then I got to decide, do I want to keep it in a regular proportion? I always tend to, I'll be honest, I kind of like to keep it in a regular proportion because I want to be able to maybe print it out later.
And I like the fact that this indicates there's movement.
Yes.
So she's going into the frame. She's going somewhere, like the aircraft we did earlier. If we just
see, if I crop it in there, I might not have as much. So
it doesn't feel like there's the same energy to it.
Yeah. So let's go out to here and here. We'll just bring it into there, right? So I'm a little closer, but I don't have as much of that to deal with. Now it's like it's not so imbalanced.
Right. Get that speaker out.
I gotta go. It's gotta go. That's killing me.
Like we both immediately went to the same.
Yeah, it's gotta go. Like I don't mind the other stuff, but that speaker's gotta go. Let's see. Yeah, I did a pretty good job.
Look how easy that was.
All right. So we haven't done anything to it. I'm gonna go to landscape. You can see where that kind of warmed it up.
Sure.
But I want to start off with that lens upgrade. Let's get that lens upgrade going. I think that'll do a lot to this photo. And then we're going to boost this up.
Yeah.
Boost this up.
Okay, I'm seeing some of it now. That's good.
Yeah, and
That's
you
good.
see where, it's way back there, and you can see the background. Oh, my camera's, or my computer's giving, but you see where, see how the background is really getting blurred out there. Now again, we can go to that visualize depth. Ooh. Oh, but my,
it's trying. It's struggling.
Yeah,
there we go.
My computer's struggling. Let's see if we can't. Yeah, I'm gonna keep on creeping this in. Oh, I'm getting the horse now.
Yeah.
I just right about there.
So there's that spot in the fence you may need to touch up.
Yeah, but I think it's not so drastic that we'll really notice it.
Okay.
I think it won't be that bad. Of course, if my computer comes back. Let's see. Boom.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. So you see where, I mean, that's a huge lens upgrade.
It is.
Like that looks night and day, which already was shot at f5, but now we're really,
you're pushing it now. Yeah.
Really going out. Maybe bring it back just a little bit. But now we could just go through. Boy, my computer's having a hard time now. I think I've thrown too much at it. Oh boy. But yeah, now we could just go through it. If we want to bring down exposure, open up shadows, maybe take some highlights down.
Yeah.
Dehaze it a little bit.
Just a touch of the clarity.
Yeah.
Just a touch. Just a touch. Yeah, make that horse shine just a
boy.
bit. But basically, it's the same process that we've been doing before.
Same process we've been doing.
Same basic steps.
As you can see, and you can see everybody's computer always acts up on them, right?
Especially when you're broadcasting live.
Especially.
That's the way that works.
But yeah, all we would do to it is just do what we've been doing. Bring that subject out. Now I would go select subject.
Yep.
Something like that. Bring out the foreground. Select background. Darken the background just a little bit. I'm talking like a quarter stop, a tenth of a stop, not much. But again, to bring your eyes to the rider, bring out the rider. I maybe open up her face a little bit more.
If you could get a little bit of light underneath there, right?
But yeah, I mean, that would be the basic process that we've been doing. Just to add, you want to add that, you want to take that raw file and really cook it. You want to cook it.
Yeah.
And then if you cook it too much, we'll all know. So.
We will.
And then it's
like a burnt file.
Yeah, it'll be a burnt file. So there you go. Well, I thank everybody for tuning in. Thanks, Kirk, for being here.
I'm always happy to be here. This was so much fun.
Where can they learn more about you?
Hey, there it is. Yeah, I am at thepixelpro.com. You can follow me on Instagram at the.pixelpro. Shoot me an email, shoot me a message, a DM. I love interacting with the people who see my stuff. I just get thrilled when people even look at it and say, hey, that's really cool.
There you go.
I just get that little like, yay, somebody noticed.
And there's some of those shots you were talking
Yeah,
about.
there's some of the stuff that I'm doing. So those are the type of shots that we're doing in this new class that I just recorded. So they are sports portraits, and how to take them to the next level.
Yes, and like I said, I think that's where it's very good. The pocketbooks open up when the parents see that kind of stuff.
It definitely sets you apart from the other like little league sports photographers in your area.
When
you can start
the
adding
snapshots,
they
and they're in the middle of the day, and
just kneel down with the baseball bat and smile. And because we all have those of like ourselves when we were 8 years old, and we see that on the fridge magnet still. And it's like, that wasn't very good. I think we can do better.
Yes, we can do better. So if you want to learn how to do better, over at KelbyOne.com, you can find out. You'll have your class over there. And if you want 4 months free, just go to KelbyOne.com.
4 months. I think you have like 9 hours left.
/ 4 months. So about 9 hours left. If you're watching this on the replay,
hurry.
You probably have a couple minutes left. So
hurry.
There you go.
Hit pause and go check the time.
And next week, we have a special guest next week. So you guys will definitely want to tune in for that special guest next week. The one and only Joe McNally will
I
be
miss
here.
Joe McNally.
Yes.
Tell Joe that I said hi. He's been an inspiration to me. So you guys comment back that Kirk says hi. He won't know who I am, but still, just say it anyway.
Yes, so you'll want to tune in next week. Big grid episode next week. So if you have any questions for us, hit us up on social. And then or over at KelbyOne, we're always willing to. We love to answer your questions. Like
we do. Love interacting with this stuff.
Love to.
We live here, and we invite people to join us in our world and talk about the stuff we do.
Yes, we love this stuff. This is why we do what we do.
It's what we live.
Yeah. So, thanks everybody for joining us, and we'll see you guys next week here on the grid.
Bye.
Look at that jib. To the sky.
Photoshop World 2024, where imagination becomes reality. Come join us for 3 days of creativity, fun, and teaching. Discover the future of photo editing with the industry experts. Transform your photos with Photoshop fundamentals. Improve your Lightroom workflow. Dive into new AI, presets, and filters. Try next-level color techniques. Learn creative compositing. And improve portraits with advanced retouching. Your journey to extraordinary images starts here.